everybody, welcome back to Blender's Best of the Month. My name is Z Garcia, and in this short video we're going to be telling you about the best game we played, new to us, over the previous month and why we liked it so much. So here we go. I'm going to kick it off with Think Straight here. Think Straight is a deduction game, which is not a genre you see very often these days, and it's a genre I rather enjoy, and so when this came along I was very excited to play it. Did so and really loved it. Great game, nice play length, not too long, fairly straightforward rules, but the gameplay and what it makes you think about, the sort of mental gymnastics it puts you through are solid, and it's just a very clever game. Now, I will say the production quality of the game I wish was better, but the gameplay itself, truly solid. A game I think is one of my favorites in this style of games. So very happy to have discovered this one that is Think Straight.
Hi everybody, this month I'm crushing on Karuba from Haba Games. This is a family weight puzzly tile laying game where the way that you score the most points is by connecting 4 adventurers to their matching temple, and you do that by playing tiles on your board that create little paths for them to go along. What I really love about this game is that puzzly element to it, though, because the game is randomized for setup from game to game, so it doesn't play the same every time, but each player gets the exact same setup and has the exact same tile set. So the game is very much about the choices you make with the tiles that you have. And that's so cool because within a few turns, everybody's board looks completely different, even though everybody's had the exact same tiles. The way that it plays is super simple. Basically, a tile is drawn, let's say number 20, and then each player has to decide what they want to do with their number 20. Do you want to play it on your board to help create those paths, or do you want to discard it for the movement points, which is how you move your adventures along those paths to get to the temple for the points? And that choice can actually be really tough sometimes, and I love that tension. I really like the simplicity to depth ratio in Karuba, and I like that it's quick to play and easy to teach. For me, my next step with Karuba is I'm actually going to buy another set of it because I think it'll play really well with more than 4 players. It's just that kind of game. It is kind of multiplayer solitaire, which some people don't care for in general, but I don't mind that, and this game is so fun and puzzly and quick and engaging. I love it. Karuba, check it out.
Hey folks, my best of the month for February was this game right here, Pirates of the Seven Seas. I was pleasantly surprised with this. This is one of the ones that we have been kind of putting off, reviewing for a while, trying to get to some of the bigger titles. And this one really surprised me. I enjoyed the back and forth, almost to take that element to part of the game because you can play curses on people. Of course, it's a pirate-themed game, so you can get black spots, which are negative points at the end of the game, and there's just a lot of things that about this game that I really enjoyed. Probably the one thing that I was surprised by the most was the dice into, all the dice at one time, and then having to measure and see which one's closer and all that kind of thing. I thought that was going to be very convoluted because there's another game that used the same mechanic, and I felt that way about that game. But this one, I don't know how it is. It just seems a little bit easier. It seems much more streamlined, so I really enjoyed Pirates of the Seven Seas. Go check it out.
Hi folks, Rebecca and Hunter here from Two Player Showdown, and my pick of the month is Among the Stars. This is a card drafting game for 2 to 4 players, and you are working to build the most efficient space station. And I love the space theme with this. I love the drafting and the bonuses you get from your proximity of different cards to one another. And they also have races where you can get special abilities based on that. So this is a really fun game. I highly recommend it, Among the Stars.
I greatly enjoyed Among the Stars, but that is not my game of the month. I'm a little late to the party, but my game of the month is Castles of Burgundy, our first dive into the world of Feld. We were a bit wary to play these games. We heard stories about point salads and heavy euro and scary things, but we tried it. We loved it. It's a great dice game, rolling game where you roll dice and that gives you different actions you can do, and you build up a land full of castles and buildings, and each building gives bonuses. It's just a great solid Euro game with dice rolling. Castles of Burgundy, my game of the month.
Hey folks, my pick this month is The Legends of Andor. The land of Andor is in danger. From the mountains and forests, enemies are advancing towards the castle of Old King Brandar. Only you and your small band of heroes stands in their way. Will you succeed in defending the castle and protecting Andor? Legends of Andor is a cooperative game for 2 to 4 heroes. Live the legendary tales as you unite to battle ever-encroaching enemy forces in your efforts to protect the kingdom. This is the second edition of Andor and published by Cosmos. It updates many of the translation errors from the first edition while keeping all the adventure and fun intact. I love the expansive storyline and the cooperative nature of this epic adventure. And a great example of how you don't need plastic minis to have a great game. They've done an amazing job with all the cardboard figures and buildings. Also available now, you can continue the story with the Star Shield expansion. It brings more great storytelling, new creatures, and structures. The new Heroes expansion should be available soon as well, bringing 4 new heroes to the battle and expanding the game to 6 players. Still one of my favorite co-op adventures. Yes, it's an older game, but well worth another look.
So what is my game of the month? That is Through the Ages, a new story of civilization. Folks, I liked Through the Ages in the past and it kind of faded on me. Small little components didn't really help it at all, but this one, really nice components. This one is Civilization in a box, and I think everyone needs like some kind of Civilization game in their collection, so this is the one being added to mine. I think I like it best with 2 players. Let's go with 3, but just taking you through Civilization, it feels like Sid Meier's Civilization, the computer game, as a board game. A lot of fun things in this box. This game really blew me away, both in production value and how they streamlined the game. A lot of fun. A great game, Through the Ages.
Hey there, I'm John from John Gets Games, and the best game that I played over the last month is Dimension. This was a little tough because I played a bunch of really good games over the last month, and certainly some that were more interesting, but Dimension was probably the most fun that I had. And what you do in this game is you have a 1-minute timer to follow a set of randomly based rules, and you stack these little colored spheres on top of each other to make a little pyramid. And the rules might be like, no orange can touch white, and you need more black than blue, and at the end of a minute you see who it built the biggest tower. You get points for how many balls are in there, and then you lose points for how many rules you break. You do this 6 times, so the whole game takes like 10-ish minutes when you count in all the counting time in there. I've played it back-to-back several times. Everyone I've played it with has had a great time with it. It's just a really fun experience. I've really enjoyed it.
Howdy gamers, Indiana John here, and my best of the month game for February 2016 is Above and Below from Ryan Lockett and Red Raven Games. This is a very interesting worker placement game where you're doing the typical things you do in worker placement games. You're getting resources and hiring people and building buildings and getting points and all that kind of stuff. But the really interesting thing in this game is when you start heading below ground and you can explore caverns, and when you start doing that, you have this great book of stories that goes along with it, and you're making decisions based upon those stories and rolling dice and spending your skills, and it really kind of becomes like a choose-your-own-adventure novel, or if you ever played Tales of the Arabian Nights, it has sort of that feel too. But to combine that with a worker placement game with that great Ryan Lockett artwork, and it's a great design by him as well, I think this is one you should definitely check out. My best of the month for February, Above and Below.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. My pick for Game of the Month, February 2016, is Karuba from Haba. This is 2 to 4 players. This is a family style game. It's a puzzly game where everyone starts off with the same exact board, the same exact setup, and the same exact tiles. And as the game goes on, people are going to be laying tiles down. One person calls which numbered tile goes down, and then everyone is basically deciding where to put it. So everyone starts the same, everyone's playing the same game, but everyone's going to create their thing a little bit differently, and it's this whole time aspect as to when do I lay tiles versus when do I rush my guys to the temples, because you get more points the faster you get there. There's only 2 rules in the game, but there's a lot of depth within those rules. This is off the charts in my depth to complexity ratio. I love this game. I will be very surprised if this doesn't at least get nominated for Spiel des Jahres, if not win it. One of the best family games I've played in a long time, Karuba.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Roy Candy, and my best of the month is Deception Murder at Hong Kong. In Deception Murder at Hong Kong, one player is playing as a murderer who is trying to mislead the other players by not letting them guess the correct murder weapon and clue that's left behind at the scene of the crime. Another player is playing the forensic scientist who isn't allowed to talk, but they have these little boards of like adjectives and like time of the crime and like where the murder had taken place and what the cause of death was, and they put these little bullet tokens on there to give clues to the other players. The other players are just investigators, and they have one guess in the game on what one of the murder weapons is and what one of the clues left behind is, and they have to get both of those right. It's a super tense game. We're trying to figure out who's misleading and lying, who the murderer is, and sometimes even when you know who the murderer is, it's like, what's the exact combination? Can we narrow this out? Maybe someone's trying to throw us off. Maybe you're the murderer. Are they the murderer? So if your group likes these social deduction games with lots of lying to each other and stabbing each other in the back sort of thing, but feels very much like Mysterium / Resistance, make sure to check out Murder Deception at Hong Kong, and make sure to trust no one.
My game of the month is 1849. Now, I never played this one until this past week, and wow, it blew me away. It's the one that's based in Sicily. So you're basically on a little island, and it's a very tight, small. We played it in 4 players. It's probably best in 3, but we played it in 4, and it's a very small 18x game, and I really, really enjoyed it. It had some very, very unique mechanisms. It had, stock prices changing and no par values on the stock, and it had a whole bunch of stuff. It's definitely an entry-level version of the 18x game, and it's one that I really, really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to playing again. So if you want to get into a 18x game, I'd say a very good one to start out would be 1849 Sicily.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, are our best games of the month. Please tell us in the comments about your favorite new discoveries. We'd love to hear about that. And as always, we'll see you in 1 month, where we'll be telling you about the best games we played next month. See you.